Well, good morning and Merry Christmas, everybody. It's so good that you guys are here. Thank you for choosing to spend today with us as we celebrate the most wonderful time of the year, but not only the most wonderful time of the year, I think, and Christianity teaches the most amazing, as we celebrate the most amazing event that has ever hit this planet. And even if you're here and you're not a Christian, the reality is that the birth of Christ has been so defining in our world. I mean, it's impacted the Western world in ideology and in the way we think so much, but it's also literally divided our calendar, that everything we do, everything we schedule, every birth that we celebrate, every birthday we celebrate, if your child was born in 2008, if your child was born in 2010, that means that they were born 2010 years after Jesus was born, which is pretty crazy to think about, that every single date we write down is literally defined by this event that we celebrate at Christmas time. The birth of a little baby in Bethlehem. There had to be something pretty big that happened back then to say, oh my gosh, let's divide our calendar in two. It's pretty crazy. But we're celebrating this Christmas thing, and it's amazing. And Christianity teaches that this is literally the thing where God was able to come in and redefine how people can see Him, redefine how people can know Him, redefine how He interacts with us. It's pretty incredible. So, there's a whole bunch of things that we could talk about at Christmas time. Whole bunch of things. And we could go down the normal Christmas story and understand, baby Jesus, meek and mild, born in Bethlehem, and angels and shepherds and Gloria. No, I've even forgot the words. We could go down all those ways. We're obviously not, because I forgot the words. What we've decided to do is to talk about something else. We've decided to talk about the pursuits of Christmas. And the reality is that all of us have a pursuit during Christmas. Maybe we don't call it that, but all of us have desires. All of us have hopes. All of us have things that we want at Christmas. So kids, I know we got some kids in here. You guys want some stuff for Christmas, right? Yeah. Anybody wrote down the coolest, biggest, most awesome Christmas wish list? Did you guys write some wish lists? Yeah, we had. Let me, and we hope, there's something we want. We have a pursuit, and some of you kids are like pursuing it, right? Mom, please, mom, please, mom, please, mom. Now let me transition to adults. How many of you adults wrote a Christmas wish list? Nobody's saying it. Let me ask you this. How many wives made sure their husbands knew through all the hints and all the... Yes. How many links were sent from Amazon to husbands? Yes. Okay, let me ask you this. Maybe I need to ask the guys this. Guys, how many wives actually bought their presents and put your name on it? Yes, thank you. We have a pursuit on Christmas. And it's not only gifts, because we want that, right? But it's also decorations and trees and music and family coming over and dinner and what we're eating and traveling and all the stuff. Christmas, it's a weird time of year. It's an awesome time of year, but it's this weird time of year where we focus in on trying to get certain things and certain stuff. And I think all this stuff are wonderful things. It's so wonderful. It's the most wonderful time of the year. But I think behind the decorations, behind the gifts, behind the joy of giving even, and the joy of getting, and behind all those things, I think there are a few things that we really want. And Christmas time sort of highlights those things. But I think it goes deep inside of us, because I think what we're looking for during this time is hope. We're looking for hope, and we want this all the time throughout the year, but at Christmas time we kind of pause everything and go, I just hope next year is going to be better than this year. I hope during this time of my family coming together, it's going to be better. I hope that we will be able to move into this. I hope there's all this different hope. And the reason I think we want hope is because we live in a world where sometimes it feels like it's a little hopeless. We are in some relationships where it's like, how do we fix this? We look at the politics of our world sometimes and we go, how do we fix this? We look at the news and we go, oh my gosh. We look at our neighborhood and we go, gosh, we just need some hope. And then if we're honest with ourselves, sometimes we look inside ourselves as well and go, man, I've tried to fix this thing. I need some hope in there as well. And I think this is a driving force behind the phenomenon of Christmas. Not only hope, though, I think we also want peace. I mean, you've been working so hard to just take a couple weeks off and have some peace and quiet. Turn the music off, please. Peace and quiet sometimes. Not only do we want peace, we also want some joy. And that's why we play the type of music we play. That's why we do what we do, because we want to see joy in our own lives and joy in our kids' lives and joy in our family's life. We're looking for joy. And another one that I think is a driving factor for all of us is that we want love. We want love. We want to be loved. We want to be accepted. And we want to love someone else. But this is, I think, 4 very important things that we hope for, that we pursue all of our life, but then also Christmas time. During that time, this is something that we pursue. Now, here's the cool thing. This is amazing. That Christianity teaches and Christmas exposes this amazing thing about God, that God also has a pursuit of Christmas. And the cool thing that we learn in the Christmas story is not just baby Jesus meek and mild, but the cool thing we learn in the Christmas story is that God's pursuit is you. God's pursuit is you, that He is on this fierce, unrelenting, He stop at nothing pursuit of you. And in His desire for you and for me, He wants us to find hope. He wants us to find peace. He wants us to find joy and love. God's not after you to say don't and do and stop and don't and change that and be that. He's going, hey, I know you want hope. And the reality is, that as imperfect, flawed human beings, the hope and the peace and the joy and the love that we can find and that we can give can only go so far. Because imperfection can't create a perfect hope, a perfect peace, a perfect joy, perfect love. But God's going, I can. And I want to. And my desire, my pursuit is to do everything I can to come into your life, whether you're a Christian or a religious person, a church person or not. Don't do church. I'm not really into that stuff. I don't know if I believe that God's pursuit is you, to find you wherever you're at and introduce you to a hope in Him that goes beyond the hope that we can create. That goes beyond the hope that we can manufacture. A peace that is perfect, even in the midst of a place and a world that sometimes is so racked with worry and anxiety. A joy that goes beyond the pain and the brokenness that we experience. And a love that can actually literally change us on the inside. That's what His pursuit is. His desire is for you and for me. And on the very first Christmas, He did something amazing. In God's epic pursuit of you, He did the most amazing thing that He could do. He became a man. And I know this is weird if you're not a Christian. I know this is like, really? I don't know how that all fits together. But the reality is that Christianity has taught since that time that somehow, in some very real way, God entered this world and became a man. Now, what that teaches me and what that tells me is this. It's pretty cool. That God would stop at nothing in His pursuit of you. That He would do whatever it takes, even becoming a man. As crazy and wild, how does that even work? He would do whatever it takes. And I spoke more about Him becoming a man a couple of weeks ago. And if you want to hear more about that, I went into detail of that and how that looks and why He did that and all that stuff. But the reality of Christmas is that He did this most amazing thing that He could ever do in His epic pursuit of you. And that is that He said, I will stop at nothing, even if it means I will humble myself and become a man and enter the broken world that they live in so that they can know. And I will do it in the most public way possible, going into a world that so many people lived back then that we have no clue that they ever lived. But if even you take away the Bible stories about Jesus, history tells us, Roman history tells us that there was a man named Jesus who was crucified in the most public way and killed in the most public way that everyone knew about Him. And so God decided, my desire, my pursuit of Christmas will stop at nothing. I will fight through everything to become a man so that they can know that my pursuit is them, is you, to help you find a hope that goes beyond hope, peace and joy and love that can change everything. That's the story of Christmas. Not just shepherds and sheep and baby Jesus and wise men. The story is that God would stop at nothing to communicate to you how much He loves you and pursues you. Now, as I was thinking about that, I realized that, oh my gosh, that story has been depicted in Hollywood in the most amazing way. And so there's this movie that none of you have ever thought is a Christmas movie, but I think it's the best Christmas movie you would ever see. So I'm going to give you some homework today to go and watch the best Christmas movie that you never knew was a Christmas movie. okay? And the Christmas movie is this, Finding Nemo. Who's seen Finding Nemo? Anybody? Yes, a lot of you. Okay, good. Finding Nemo, I'm telling you, is one of the best Christmas stories you've ever watched. Do you know why? Because it's about a father who loves his child so much. And when his child, Nemo, does something dumb, doesn't listen, disobeys, and goes into a dangerous place, just kind of do his own thing to find his own joy, to find his own hope, that I can be who I want to be, to find peace in some sense of like, this is awesome, to find the acceptance of his friends and love in that way. I'm going to go do this. And then he goes, and then the worst thing possible happens. He gets lost because these divers come and get him, and they take him away. And in that moment, do you remember how Marlon, his dad, responded? Was he angry? Was he disappointed? Was he saying, oh my gosh, that kid's going to get it? No. The only response he had was, what do I do to pursue him and find him and bring him back? And remember, he went through everything. He went through and he fought sharks and jellyfish, and he went into the darkest place, and there was a crazy monster there, and all this stuff happened. I'm telling you, that's the story of Christmas. You should watch the movie. And maybe sing Jingle Bells while you watch it to make it feel like it's a Christmas movie. But the reality is, it's the best Christmas movie because it tells the story of Christmas in such a unique way. In fact, I want to show you a clip of Finding Nemo. And it's the clip where Marlon is telling the story of how he pursued and how he came up against so many things. But he said, there's nothing that can keep me away. I will do everything. And then there's another part, another clip we're going to show. We're going to go straight to it, where that is being communicated to Nemo so that he will not forget. And I think that's the story of Christmas. It's a story of a God that will stop at nothing, even fight sharks, so that he can pursue you. But it's also the story of him communicating to you through whatever means necessary that there is a God that is pursuing you. Whether you're a Christian or not, because sometimes Christians feel like, hey, I'm doing the whole thing, I'm a church person. No. God's pursuing you so that you can grow in him and find more hope in him and peace in him. He's pursuing you. So there's the one side of him pursuing you and the other side of him communicating his pursuit of you. And these two clips show that brilliantly. So watch the screen as we see the Christmas story is told by Marlon.
Well, okay. I live on this reef a long, long way from here.
Oh boy, this is gonna be good, I can tell.
And my son, Nemo, see, he was mad at me. And maybe he wouldn't have done it if I hadn't been so tough on him. I don't know. Anyway, he swam out in the open water to this boat, and when he was out there, these divers appeared, and I tried to stop them, but the boat was too fast. So we swam out in the ocean to follow him.
We couldn't stop him. And then Nemo's dad, he swims out to the ocean, and they bump into three
ferocious sharks. He scares away the sharks by blowing them up.
Golly, that's amazing.
And then dives thousands of feet
straight down into the dock. It's like wicked dark down there. You can't see a thing. How's it going, Bob? And the only thing I can see down there is...
It's a knife from this big, horrible creature with razor-sharp teeth. Nice barrier, man. And then he has to blast his way.
Three little fish have been searching the ocean for days on the East Australian current.
Which means that he may be on his way here right now. That should put him in Sydney
Harbour in a matter of days. I mean, it sounds like this guy's going to stop at nothing.
Nothing till he finds his son. I sure hope he makes it. That's one dedicated father, if you ask me.
Nemo, where's Nemo? I've got to speak with him.
What? What is it?
Your dad's been fighting the entire ocean looking for you.
My father? Really?
Really? Oh, yeah. He's travelled hundreds of miles. He's been battling sharks and jellyfish, all sorts of...
That can't be him.
Are you sure? What was his name? It's some sort of sport fish or something. Tuna? Trout?
Marlin?
That's it. Marlin, the little clownfish from the reef.
It's my dad! He took on a shark!
I heard he took on three.
Three sharks?
There's gotta be 4,800 teeth.
You see, kid, after you were taken by Diver Dan over there, your dad followed the boat you were on like a maniac.
Really?
He's swimming and he's swimming and he's giving it all he's got, and then three gigantic sharks capture him and he blows him up and then dives thousands of feet where he gets chased by a monster with huge teeth. He ties this thing to a rock. What does he get for a reward? He gets to battle an entire jellyfish forest. But now he's riding with a bunch of sea turtles on the East Australian current, and the word is he's headed this way right now to Sydney.
Wow.
Oh, what a good dad.
He was looking for you after all, Sharkbait.
I think my favorite line in that is when that bird says, that's one dedicated father, if you ask me. Now, just to clarify, that's Australian. My accent's South African, okay? So just make sure you understand that part, okay? But I think that's one of my favorite parts where he goes, that's one dedicated father, if you ask me. Now let me ask you something. What if we could see God like Marlon? What would that do? How would that change your perspective of him? And I think that's the story of Christmas. Where God would choose, no matter what's happened, no matter how you may have done something that nobody else knows about and you've kind of pushed it aside and you've said, I don't know. Or you've said, I don't even believe in him. That doesn't change the fact that God believes in you. And what if the story of Christmas was true, where God decided to become a man to show the world that he would stop at nothing to pursue us? That he would live a life and begin to teach these incredible principles that help so much. And then he would say, I am here to serve you, to love you. I am here for you. I want to bring a hope that goes beyond any hope you could ever find. I want to give you peace, that peace that tells you no matter what you've done, I forgive you because I'm going to die for anything you've ever done wrong. And there is forgiveness and you can find peace in yourself, peace with me, and peace with other people. I want to give you joy, and I want to show you that I love you so much that I am willing to die for you. I will stop at nothing. What if we saw the Christmas story for what it is? What if we knew that that is one of the most beautiful pictures of your Heavenly Father pursuing you? It'd be amazing. It'd be incredible, and it might change our understanding and perspective and connection and relationship with God. Now, you may be going, "Yeesh, this guy's getting his theology from Pixar." Actually not, because here's the cool thing. Jesus, when he grew up, after being baby Jesus, meek and mild, he grew up and he started to teach. And there's this one place where he taught 3 stories in a row, where he told basically the story of Finding Nemo. He just didn't have cameras and animation and computers. I'm telling you, if he lived now, I think that one of the parables would have been the parable of the little clownfish from the reef. I'm telling you, because I'll show you, the next 3 stories that I'm going to show you have the same storyline. And Jesus came and he said, I want you to know the story of Christmas. There's no Christmas jingle bells and all that stuff around the story, but this is the story of Christmas. Jesus was teaching some people, and here's what he said. Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. He might have been named Nemo. Look what he does. Doesn't he leave the 99 in the open country and go after the lost sheep until when? Until he finds it. He stops at nothing. Now, I don't think there were sharks in the wilderness, but there must have been wolves. And he would face them and do whatever it took, go through whatever, climb through whatever, go through the cold, climb up mountain, cliffs, down cliffs, to do whatever it took to find the lost sheep. Why? Because that sheep was precious to him. It's the story of Finding Nemo. Jesus continues and says, and when he finds it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulders and goes home. Then he calls all his friends and neighbors together and says, come on, rejoice with me. I found my lost sheep. Finding Nemo. There it is. And in that moment, Jesus then goes on and says, listen, that's a cute story. That's a cute story. But I'm telling you, he goes on to say this, in the exact same way in heaven, this is God's heart for you. That's why I'm here. That's why I came, so that I can help anybody who's disconnected from their Heavenly Father, who's trying to figure out hope and peace and joy and love. Anyone who's disconnected, I want them to find hope in me, peace in me, joy in me, and love in me that can change everything in their life now and to come. In the same way, if someone connects with their Father, there is a party in heaven. And then he's like, okay, this is so important that I'm not just going to tell one story. Man, if Pixar was around, I would show a movie. But let me tell you another story. He continues. Or suppose a woman has 10 coins and loses 1. Doesn't she light a lamp, sweep the house, and search carefully until she finds it? She will work and go and move things and do whatever it takes to find the lost coin. And when she finds it, Jesus continues, and when she finds it, she calls her friends and neighbors together and says, "Rejoice with me, I found my lost coin." And again, Jesus goes on to say that if there is someone who's disconnected from God, when they reconnect, there is a party in heaven. They're rejoicing in heaven. That's the heart of God. The story of Christmas, guys, is this: that there is a Father who loves you so much that He's willing to fight off sharks, go through a sea of jellyfish, do whatever it takes, go into the darkest places no matter what, search until He finds you, and He wants to communicate that to you today. Honestly, I think one of the reasons you're sitting here today is because God wants to communicate to you that He is on a fierce, unrelenting, somewhat reckless pursuit of you and will stop at nothing. To communicate that to you so that you know, Christmas, the pursuit of Christmas is God's pursuit of you and your heart. That's what it is. Then Jesus goes into one more story. And now that He's laid the foundation, that pursuit will stop at nothing, that's what He's going to fight for, that's what He's going to do, that's what God is like. Now that He's done that, He switches the next story just slightly, and we see it from a different perspective. The first two stories, you see it from the unrelenting pursuit of what is lost. The next story goes, okay, so what is the perspective of the lost? What is the perspectives of the ones who are being pursued? And in the story, Jesus introduces us to two brothers. These two brothers who are also lost in one way or another and not experiencing God's pursuit of them like He intends it, and are not experiencing the hope that they can find in Him, the joy, the peace, the love that they find in Him. Partly because they have chosen not to. They've chosen to base their hope in something else. And in the story, Jesus, I think, introduces these two brothers because I think He understands that for all of us, we respond to His pursuit in different ways. And these are two of the primary ways that we sometimes respond. The first brother is someone who believed that he had to earn it. He had to earn everything. He had to earn God's love, earn the hope, do what it takes because it depends on me. And if I can do this right, then it will work. I can find hope, peace, joy, love. I can make this work. And this plays itself out whether you're a religious person or not. Sometimes religious people are like, I've got to go to church, I've got to do it all right, and if I don't do it right, then God's not going to bless me. I need to get into God's good books by doing all the right things because I have to earn it. Jesus brings that person up. The other one is someone who believed that he didn't deserve it. The one thought he could earn it. The other one said, I don't deserve it. And the reason he thought he doesn't deserve it is because he also was after on this pursuit of hope and love and peace and joy. And he went out and said, I don't want it your way. I want it my way. And I think I can do that. And went out. And when it all failed and came crashing down, he realized, oh my gosh, I've messed up. And thought, now what? I can't go back. I don't deserve what God wants to give. I don't deserve His acceptance. I don't deserve His love. So these are the two brothers He introduces. Let me show you the story. Jesus continued right after telling the other two stories so that we know the pursuit of God is you. There was a man who had two sons. The younger one said to his father, Father, give me my share of the estate. Basically, he was saying, Dad, we're not doing good. I don't really care about you, but I do care about your money. So I wish you were dead. Can I have your inheritance right now? That's what he basically said. And then the dad does the unthinkable. So the dad divided his property between them. Why on earth would a father do that to a rebellious punk kid? Why would he do that? Because he would never force his ways on anyone. And he would do whatever it takes, even if it meant giving him what he thought he was due. It's incredible. Jesus continues the story. Not long after that, the younger son got together all that he had and he set off for a distant country, and there he squandered his wealth in wild living. Now, we don't know what the wild living was, but I think he was on a pursuit of something. He wanted to find life. He wanted to find how the best kind of life, joy and peace in his way. He wanted to find hope that he could be the man and do what he wanted to do. He wanted to find love the way that he wanted it. And he went out and he tried everything. And while he had money, it was awesome. Everything was great because that money sometimes kind of covers up the mess inside of us. Money sometimes covers up the mess around us. But as soon as that disappeared, he realized, oh my gosh, things aren't working out. The hope that I've created doesn't go as far as I want it to go. The peace that I want, now it's all a mess. The joy that I want only goes so far as while I'm in the party. And the love, everyone loved my stuff. There's very little real, unconditional love. And so he found himself in a hole. Found himself in a place where it just wasn't working and in despair. And in that hole, he thought back to that father of his that he remembered loved him and was a compassionate man, and maybe, just maybe, he couldn't go back and be a son because he's ruined that. Maybe he'd take him back as a servant and he could work there, and perhaps that would be better. So the son got up and went to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with something. Now, for us, two ways of looking at this. If you're the dad, what would you be filled with? And if you're the son, what would you think the dad would be filled with? Most times it's, I told you so's. Most times it's anger. Most times it's, I'm so disappointed in what you've done. But as Jesus is telling the story representing God, he tells everyone and kept it in these ancient documents for us to read today what God's heart is filled with when he looks at us after we've done dumb things. He saw him and was filled with compassion for his son. I mean, that communicates love. That communicates that he's for him. And then you see the pursuit come out. It's beautiful. He was filled with compassion for him, and he ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and he kissed him. You see, this story shows that God's pursuits of us. Why didn't the father just keep going and tell the son to stop because he's going to hurt himself? Why didn't he just keep going? Because God has given us free will and choice. And he will never bully his way into our lives. He will never force us to do anything we don't want to do. I don't know how that all works with God and us. That's just crazy. But we can choose what we want to choose. And if we choose to stiff arm him, if we choose to say, I'm going to do it my way, he says, okay, but just know this, that I'm looking for you. And I am there, and the minute, the second you turn around, I will be there, and I will run, and I will throw my arms around you, and I will kiss you. There's going to be no I told you so. There's going to be no judgment because Jesus died to pay the price for all the mess that we do. And I will show you that I love you. And you can come to me not because of what you've done or whether you deserve it, but because of what I've done. Look at what the father did. The son comes along and he's feeling guilty because the dad's hugging him now first. Father, I've sinned against you and against heaven, and I am no longer worthy to be called your son. I don't deserve anything you could give me. And the father just ignores him, and look at what he does. But the father said to his servants, quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring which signified identity. It was most likely a family ring, a family emblem that said, you are my son, with all authority and blessing of a son. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it, which kids, that basically means steaks tonight. Okay? That's not weird and creepy. That's normal. Okay? Steaks tonight, everybody. Let's have a feast and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and he's alive again. He was lost and is found. So they began to celebrate. It's finding Nemo. The father was there pursuing the son. And even though he didn't deserve it, because he didn't, he'd wasted half his dad's stuff. Even though he didn't deserve it, the father didn't say, I told you so. The father said, come on, if you would choose to trust me and my love for you and my hope and find that hope in me, if you would choose to trust me and surrender all your desire for that stuff to me, you will find so much more than you can create in yourself. That's what he says. It's amazing. But then Jesus didn't forget the other brother. And if you're a Christian, or if you're a really determined, disciplined person who's trying to make life work well because you can do it, and if you do it well, you'll earn the hope and peace and joy and love that you're going to create, this next part of the story is for you. Because sometimes we as Christians kind of veer to this end. Meanwhile, the older son was in the field. And when he came near to the house, he heard music and dancing. He continues. So he called one of the servants and asked him, what's going on? Your brother has come, he replied, and your father has got the steaks, the best steaks, Omaha steaks, I think, and because he has him back safe and sound. And there's a party tonight. And the older brother has this weird reaction, which showed that he didn't understand that you can't earn this, and you don't deserve this. It's because of the father's love. But the older brother became angry and refused to go in. And here's a picture of the pursuit again. So his father went out. I mean, listen, if we think about God, why should God have to pursue us? If he's really God. We're like, why? If he's really God, why should he have to do that? And yet he knows that. He doesn't have to. But over and over and over again, the communication from Christianity, from what Jesus taught, is that he goes out. He goes out to you. He goes out to me. Over and over again, he goes out and he pleaded with him. That's the heart of God. That's the pursuit of God. But he answered his father, come on, Dad, look. And this shows where he found his dependence. What he thought was the way to earn it. Look, all these years, I've been slaving for you. And I've never disobeyed your orders. I've done everything right. Yet you never gave me even a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. Come on, why on earth have you done that? I've done everything right. I do everything right. And you know what that showed? That showed that his dependence was on how good he was and what he could earn. He thought he could save himself just like his brother who thought he could save himself. They just chose different ways. One of them chose wild living. I'm going to forget you. I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do this. The other one said, well, I'm going to do it all like this. The common denominator is I am going to do it. And the story of Christmas says you can't do it. You can't earn it. You don't deserve it. But the story of Christmas says, I love you and I'm going to give it to you anyway. And if you would just choose to surrender to me, you will find hope that goes beyond hope, peace that goes beyond the peace you can find, joy, and a love that can literally change everything. Look what the father said, my son. And I love those two words. You know why? Because the son saw himself as a slave, someone who had to earn his value. And the father saw him as a son, someone who has value. Right there in those two words, he changed the story. My son, the father said, you are always with me. And look at this. Everything I have is yours. It's there. What are you trusting? You trusting you and how well you can earn this thing? Or are you trusting me? I mean, come on. So often, and I go down that road so much. I need to earn this. It depends on me. It depends on me. And the message of Christianity is, if it depended on you, it wouldn't work. If it depended on you, you're not good enough. Yes, it'll work a bit. It won't get where you want to go. It doesn't depend on you. It depends on me. Because I am your Father and I love you. That's what works. Everything I have is yours when you surrender and trust him. That's the story of Christmas. He continues, but we had to celebrate and be glad because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is now found. Finding Nemo. There it is. Jesus told 3 stories long before Pixar ever told that story, and then Pixar came out and said, hey, and I don't know why they said it, where the story comes from. I don't even know, but I think if Jesus was around right now, he would say, let me tell you another story about a clownfish. So I'm going to give you some homework this Christmas season. You ready for it? Go watch Finding Nemo. Seriously, I'm dead serious. Go watch Finding Nemo, and here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at Marlin, and every time he does something, I want you to think, that's just a picture of what God is doing for me, both to be pursuing me and to communicate his pursuit of me. I want to end with a problem and a question that all of us need to ask. And the problem has to do with how we respond and who we are as people. I wrote it down like this. The problem is this, that the natural gravitational pull inside us is away from dependence on God and toward dependence on ourselves, whether you're a Christian or not. Christians, we so quickly depend on how holy and how good we are and how much we serve and how much we give and how much we do to be able to make sure that we're in God's good books, and he's going, it doesn't work. Trust me, surrender to me. That's what the story of Christmas is. Not only that, sometimes we go, well, I'm going to depend on me to save myself, to find my own life, my own hope, my own joy, my own peace. It doesn't work. But that's in us. It's in me. Every day there's something in me that pulls me towards that. And I'm telling you, when I go down that road, I am not the person I want to be. And here's the thing, when I surrender to him, I'm telling you, my life is different, and I've seen this. I was thinking just the other day, I actually told my wife this, that our marriage, I'm so grateful for our marriage and our family, and it would not have been that way had I not only learned what Christ had taught, but experienced the life change that he brought in me. I'm telling you, when I surrender to him, it changes everything. And listen, this is not a one-time, I surrendered all. One day I came down to the altar and I prayed a prayer. This is a daily thing, because that gravitational pull in you as a Christian is toward yourself, dependence on yourself. The story of Christmas, the story of Finding Nemo, the pursuit of Christmas says, would you please consider surrendering to me? And if you're not a Christian, and this doesn't even make sense. How do I surrender? What does that even mean? In January, we're going to start a series where we talk a whole bunch about what it means and how we can know that and how we can do that. It's going to be a great series. I'm looking forward to it. The content is really, really exciting. But for now, all it is this, going, I trust you, not me. I need help, and you're the one that I trust for that help. So the question I want to leave you with this Christmas is simply this. Will I surrender? I'd love all of us to ask this question. Will I surrender to his pursuit of me? Will I surrender to his love? Christmas couldn't be more clear that God is on a pursuit of you. It's been going on for all of time. At Christmas, there was the spotlight on this world as God became a man. And then he taught, he loved, he served, and then he died. And Christianity teaches that he rose again. I believe that that's true. It's changed me. And he rose again so that his pursuit of you wouldn't stop. And I believe today he pursues you. And he's not going to stop until we turn and surrender and trust him. So there's the question. Will I surrender to his pursuit of me? Will I surrender to his love? We're going to end today with a song. And it's a song about his incredible, unrelenting, all-consuming pursuit of you. And as we do this, I'd love you to think about this. Think about this question. Where have I not surrendered? Where should I surrender? If I want hope and peace and love and joy, perhaps there's more in him than what I can create. So as we sing this song, I'd just love you to think about that. Let me pray for us, and then we'll dive into this song. Father, thank you. Thank you for Christmas. Wow. Thank you for what you've done on Christmas. Thank you for these stories. Thank you for the Finding Nemo in the Bible. Thank you for the lost coin. Thank you for the lost sheep story. Thank you for the lost sons story. Thank you, God, for what you've done. And Father, I pray today for every person sitting here that we won't get so consumed with how I need to earn it, or we won't get so consumed with I don't deserve it, because you've taken care of all of that. But that we would just surrender to your love for us. I pray that in Jesus' name. Amen.